Here we are, everyone. A couple of days before Wilder Fury number 3. Um, Boxing at the minute is a bit like buses, isn't it? You're waiting ages and one and two come along at once, and that's what's happening at the minute. We had AJ versus Alexander Usyk last week. Now we've got the trilogy fight for Wilder Fury. A really interesting fight. This one, I think a number of reasons why. First of all, that the fight is actually happening. So before the result last week, we obviously everybody wanted the AJ versus Fury fight. Never materialized, and one of the main reasons why it never materialized was because Wilder insisted on this trilogy fight. It was in the contract; it had to happen. They took it to the courts, and Wilder won, and the fight had to happen. Now, what we all have heard is that Wilder, sorry, was offered massive step aside money to allow AJ and Fury to fight. Didn't accept it, and he wanted to fight, and that tells me that he's got a lot of confidence that he can actually win this fight. I kind of asked myself, where is he getting the confidence from? Because the first fight, which was called a draw, Fury won. Obviously, there was two knockdowns in it, but they were the only two rounds, in my opinion, that Wilder had won. Um, Fury should have got the decision, called the draw. The next fight, Fury bulldozed him, bullied him, threw him about, and won the fight more convincingly than anyone really expected. So going into the third fight, you're kind of thinking, well, what does Wilder do different that can change the outcome? Why did he not just take the step aside money and get it written into a contract that he fights the winner of AJ and Fury? And the answer to that is probably because he's confident that he can win the fight. So he's changed trainers. Malik Scott, who is his new trainer, it's someone that Wilder has actually knocked out before. Strange scenario that, isn't it? Getting trained by someone that you've chinned. But you can see in some of the stuff that they're doing, they're trying to change things. And Wilder for me has always just been a kind of a one trick pony. He's got that dynamite in his right hand, and they can get him out of trouble so many times. I was at the Luis Ortiz fight in Las Vegas where he had lost every round, in my opinion. I think it was round 8 or 9. He knocked him out. But Wilder just remained calm the whole way through the fight. He was miles behind, and it was almost like he just knew as soon as I land this shot, the fight's going to be over. And that's what happened. That was the case. He hit him, and he hit him kind of there on the forehead, and he knocked him out. Shows you the power that Wilder carries. Like, now, normally when people get hit in the forehead, the fighter throwing the punch normally hurts his hand. The knockout shots happen, around the temple or hitting you around the chin. But this guy, Wilder, is probably the most explosive and biggest hitting heavyweight there's ever been, and that's the big issue for Tyson Fury. Now, looking at this fight, I believe that it's going to be similar to the second fight. I don't think that, although Malik Scott and the rest of his team, Wilder's team, are trying to change his approach and his style a little bit, it's all ingrained already over years. You can't just suddenly change your style um, from one fight to the next. I don't believe anyway. They can have a go at it, but I just don't think it's going to work. I think that what Wilder needs to do a little bit more is forget about only having that right hand, because Fury's a clever fighter, and if that is all you're relying on, he's not going to hit Fury with it. He pulls it away back, and he throws it from here, and he throws it down the way. Very, very unorthodox. But if you're Tyson Fury and you're just waiting on this right hand, you're not going to get hit by it. Saying that, he got hit twice in the first fight, didn't he? But the second fight, he just completely bulldozed Wilder. So Wilder needs to try something different, and I think that he's got a good job if he wants to use it. Sometimes you see him, he throws it from a nice low position and throws it up high, but he sharpshoots with it. He throws it fast and kind of flicks it out, always relying on the right hand coming behind it. But the jab could be used as a weapon in itself. Like, he's got a decent jab. He needs to use it to try and be hurtful and to get Fury's respect. And when he's going forward, he needs to throw more than one jab. One jab in a right hand, Fury just steps back and you're miles away from him. He needs to double it up. He needs to treble it up to get close. Um, I think Fury, I think Fury will just employ the same tactics that he did the last time. You don't fix what's not broken, and I just feel like Fury is gonna do the exact same thing as he done the last time. He's gonna take it to Wilder, and this is another issue with Wilder. I think his tactics may be a little bit more aggressive from the start. I don't think Wilder has the lung capacity to fight hard for 12 rounds. So if there's by any chance Wilder's going to win this fight, I think it has to be in the first half of the fight, and that's why I think he's going to be aggressive from the start and try and take it to Tyson Fury. I think Fury's trying to going to try and take it to him as well. I think this will be a good fight. I think it'll last 6 or 7 rounds. I think the Fury will come out victorious, but I think it's going to be a really, really exciting fight. And I think something that people have overlooked is it's just that step aside issue. Wilder never took a step aside money. He's confident that he can win this fight, and you have to give him credit for having that belief in himself. Now, all the excuses that we all know about have been mental madness. The gloves, in fairness, they look very suspicious. They were flopping around. He may have something in that. The gloves look very, very suspicious, but Mark Breland spiking his water. The ring costume being too heavy. Maybe he'll walk to the ring in the nude this time. I don't know, but just hopefully whatever happens, there's no excuses. But if Wilder does win this fight, which I don't expect him to, wouldn't surprise me because he's got the punching power to do it. But if he does win this fight, I think we're probably going to see Wilder, Tyson Fury, number 4. But who knows? I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I will be watching it. And I think you should if you're a boxing fan as well. It's something I haven't said ever at the end of one of my videos. But please subscribe if you haven't. There's going to be post-fight and pre-fight and post-fight kind of predictions. And we'll talk about fights after they happen as well. So subscribe. Subscribe, please. All the best. Give it a like as well.